Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I have a lovely studio audience here. I won't introduce them personally, but hopefully they're all going to ask me a question and then we can give their names. But just to introduce my special guest today, once again, is Dawn. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Dawn. And I'm open to all your questions. Please call in
888-994-4995, Studio A. And we're going to piggyback off of, I think, the midday show today.
Oh, great. That's fabulous. But you have to remind me because I'm in a different world right now. And I gave the number out to you guys and I can't remember it now.
888-994-4995, Studio A. So give us a call. Give Zena a call. She's keeping high vibrations and holding space for everybody.
I am.
But before we start, let's talk about what you've got going on in August.
Okay, well, I'm starting going out on the road to talk about what I do and how this all came about, basically. And I have art and I have my new book out, which I guess we have what I just learned. It's called a QR code. I am totally in a different space right now. So anybody that wants to call in, please call me in. You can ask me questions about how this all came about. But I'm going on the road to discuss this because I've had a tremendous amount of people wanting to know what happened to me and my art. So I'm happy to explain it to you, absolutely, as I'm happy to answer any questions.
And what's the second book going to be about?
The second book actually is a continuation of my very first book, which actually I wrote quite a while back, but it's being published again now with more input into what happened to me. It was my journey, how it started, how I went back into, which I think we advertised actually on Facebook previous lives that the show was going to be a little bit about today. It's how I myself became aware of how this all happened. And through my journey and what was happening to me, if anybody out there that's listening, and I know I have an audience that understands astral projection because they have written in to tell me that, I started to astral project. I was also abducted, which I now will say openly because I don't mind talking about that. And I learned so much through this process. People have said to me, are you scared about what happened to you? No, I'm absolutely delighted that I was able to open myself up to these amazing experiences, which we've talked about a little on the show. So the question again, I'm sorry, because I am in some sort of a trance.
Well, talking about the book and what it means to get your message out.
Well, I'm here to help as many people to open up. I'm not here to make anybody open up. I'm here to give my journey of what happened to me. And I used to say, and as many people know, my guide here on earth was Aldo, and he used to say, show by example. So I can only tell you what happened to me. I believe everything that happened to me, and some amazing things have happened as I've opened up. I believe, and I really want to continue this message, and I'm going to say this out on the road too and here, that anything is possible, because it starts first of all, and I'm being led to say this by my guides, it's imagination. If you start with your imagination, that leads you to other directions. Your imagination actually, and I'm going to say for people that may understand this, we all can understand it but may not be ready to understand it, is our higher self that's in contact with so much more. So your imagination, as far as I can tell, for me, is coming from somewhere else. So our dreams, some of our dreams, and I started with a dream, are very, very real, which I now know there's such a thing as astral projection at that point. So I'm here to open up people's minds. I'm not here to make you do this. I'm only able to do what I'm doing to tell you what's happened to me. If you want to believe it, and believe me, it's a wonderful way to live your life. If you believe, anything is possible. And that's really my message, and this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this on the road. I am a senior citizen. I don't know again if I'm ready to actually give my age, but life doesn't stop because I'm a senior citizen today. Life actually is better than it's ever been in my life because I follow what I feel I'm given messages to do. And I feel very strongly that I'm here to help people that are from, I'm going to say, I guess senior citizen starts at 60, I don't know. But in your latter part of your life, there's no age limit, that you can do anything still. Do what you want to do. I'm also talking for the younger generations too, because I believe a lot of them come in, they don't necessarily remember, but when they start to open up here, they're going to remember so much more because we're getting help. I don't want to bring up what happened over the weekend. We all know what happened over the weekend. But they're here to help the world today. Just listen.
The guides.
The guides.
Through the messages.
Yes, absolutely. And I know there was a question, the reason that you asked me this today, Dawn, and I know I need to just ask you that.
Well, we were talking about things happen and people need safe spaces. And when you find that safe space, you feel protected. And then there are other times that you feel the negative vibration of what's happening. We talked about the news this weekend and the situation that happened and the shooting. But once that happened and the news got out, the news kept coming in and in. And there wasn't a whole lot of new news coming in, but it was this constant low vibration and fear and panic, and then the media and the pictures. And I feel as if when you're inundated with negative energies, it forces you down.
Absolutely, and it's very repetitive. And you know why? If they can do that with negativity, why don't we do that with positivity?
So then how do you stay positive and feel as if your mission and your calling really serves a positive purpose if you're being constantly, like a whack-a-mole, say, you're being knocked down?
I'm going to say the obvious, don't watch it all the time.
But
however,
I think it's even with life.
They do, yes. And it's the same with life. If you feel that you're going down a very negative path, and we know when that's happening, it's not like, oh my God. And I usually give this as an example. I'm going to have a bad day. We have a bad day. So even if you don't believe it, and what am I saying is fake it till you make it. Just say, yes, okay, what's happened has happened. But in my immediate now, because that's all we have, our immediate now positivity is going to flow within me. I am going to have all these wonderful things happen. Well, it's only words. Let's use these words. And you know what? If it doesn't happen right away, continue doing that because eventually it will lift you to a higher vibrational energy. Not only that, it'll attract people from that level of vibrational energy because we've actually, though this is hard to understand, we've actually raised our vibration, and by doing that, we're meeting people on that same vibrational energy. It's really not complicated. I've been talking about this for years, but suddenly I'm going to say the light bulb really clicked because I know when I'm in a higher vibrational energy, I'm attracting people from that energy. When I'm a lower vibrational energy, it doesn't mean you can't go back to the lower, but bring yourself up. You're going to attract a lot of problems or whatever the lower vibrational offers you.
That was going to be my question about your vibrational energy. We all know that you function at a higher vibrational energy, and you've taught me a lot about that as well. But lately, last month, 2 months, your vibrational energy has been through the roof. Are you headed somewhere because of that?
Well, because I've been talking about this for years, and we can all do this. We're all on a learning we're learning. So we get things thrown at us that are, because we learn from a lower vibration. But I'm so into realizing, okay, let's turn this negative, and this is really important, this negative, let's see how we can make that into a positive. Very difficult to understand that, but it's very, very difficult to be very, very important to be aware of that because we're all thrown things. Because if we sailed through life where everything was positivity, we're here to learn. What are we going to learn? If everything was white, nothing was black, we wouldn't know what white was. So my message is, and I really truly feel that I'm on the right track in telling people this, fake it till you make it, because no matter how upset or how awful your life might be going, and we all have that, nobody goes through life with only just positivity. Say to yourself, I'm going to do the best that I can through this very difficult situation and see what comes about, because by saying that, you're also lifting your vibrational energy up.
So how do we, as people who understand that, bring this message to other people to help raise their vibrational energy and get rid of the negativity that's inundated?
And that's actually a very good question. And I can say what I want, but people are still going to do what they want to do. But the only thing is to make people aware of that. If I'm an empath, and anybody that's listening knows how it affects an empath, okay? So all I can say is try to see that this is, maybe even if it helps, this is a learning experience. We've come here for a reason. We're not here for no reason. So we can take away what we're learning now and try to uplift just try to be, through a difficult time, I guess the easiest way to explain it is let's be happy, because I've gone through, and you've been with me when I've gone through, I've lost a few very close people in my life. Does it hurt me? Of course, I'm a human being. Of course it hurts when I lose somebody, okay? But I have to say, well, my belief system is that they've transitioned and they're in another place, and I hear from them, which you have. But try to lift yourself up, because if you pull yourself down, that's where you're going to stay. What's going to happen? More negativity. So why not try and say to yourself, okay, I'm going through a lot, but how do I change this? Change your vibration. Be positive. It's negative and positive. That's probably the easiest way. Negative is low, positive is high. Let's continue this journey on a higher vibration.
Steve, have you seen this work for you?
Absolutely.
How has it changed you?
Well, I mean, I've always been a positive person. I've gone through negative periods in my life, as we all have. But, ever since I've been with Sally, which is like 2.5 years, those negative times, if they enter my thought process at all, they don't last very long. And I always remind myself that there's a better place. And I go there, and I always have Sally to draw from. So we're not all fortunate enough to have a Sally to draw from.
No, we can all do,
Take the compliment.
I will, and thank you so much for that. But basically, we can all do what I'm doing. We have to believe that we can do this. I'm not here to save the world. I can't save the world. I used to think when all this came to me, it's not that I had the ego, but I thought, I've got to let everybody know about this. But not everybody. And honestly, a lot of the majority of people that I meet are not ready. So I can only go by example, as each one of us here can do the same thing. When things start happening to you, you want to share the good, not the bad. People can say, oh, guess how my day went today. And they can go back into their life, guess what happened to me. We're all guilty of that. But why not say, guess what's happened to me today and yesterday, all the good things. Let's do that.
Yeah. Also, for me, having been away from work for 9 months due to illness, went back to work last week, and I was so happy to be there, so energized through everything that I've gone through, everything that I missed, everything that we've spoken about over a period of time, that I took that energy and spread it around, and it was like I never left my job. I had a week, like I never left.
That's a very good example, actually, to see. I mean, in fact, you said something in your sales meeting, right? One day you said, Sally's happy to have me out of the house, which, I mean, we're laughing, but you know that we had to get out of that negativity. I'm around unfortunately, Steve was not well, but I knew that I couldn't pull, I mean, I've said this before on the show, I can't bring myself to that energy. I can only look after you, although it may have seemed that I may be ignoring you sometimes, by keeping a positive attitude. Because if I hadn't done that, I myself, and I truly believe this today, I would also have gotten sick. It's so very important to keep that positivity. And anybody else that wants to, do you have something?
Well, being an empath, no, you will.
Yes.
That's what I was saying to Dawn earlier about her stress. You will literally get sick because you
Bring your
keep
mic
pushing it
closer.
down. You keep pushing it down, and you keep putting it where it doesn't belong. It wasn't yours. It's not meant for you. So shake
Exactly.
it off, give it back to Mother Earth, and tell her to.
Exactly, and you're a very good example of that from having just met you, some of the things that you have been through and some of the sicknesses that you've been through.
Right.
But I believe today, I mean, I don't wish anybody sick or ill, but we can take from our negatives. It's very important sometimes to have this because we can't always be there, but I'm at a point in my life now that I don't want to feed into any of that. I really don't want to feed into any of that negativity. And if I can't help someone or they're criticizing me and whatever, I have to walk away. That's
Truly.
me. I can only talk for me, but I can't bring more in. Hi, Sandy, I see you there. Okay, I can't bring more of this negativity into my life, and I will not today because that one person I might be able to help, but if they're going to bring me down, how do I help other people?
It's good. It's good advice. I wanted to add when you had said about when you were low on your vibration, misery loves company and joy is contagious.
Absolutely.
So we can choose.
Yes, that's the positive and the
choose,
negative.
exactly.
So instead of maybe even saying a higher vibrational energy, I have talked many times about being positive, but
Yes.
it's all one of the same thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You
Yeah.
have to choose. I have to choose to be
Absolutely.
positive because when I do
because
choose
we have
the
free
other,
will and we choose what we want to choose,
yeah,
right?
yeah, you fall into dark places when
Exactly.
you're choosing the other, and it's
Exactly.
human.
And it continues until you begin to open up and realize maybe there's something else. But again, not to, you know, we all have problems, and that sometimes catapults us into a different direction
course.
because we say, oh, I've got to stop this. Enough is enough. But you've got to have some hope, and knowing there's something different. And hopefully, this is my message today, that that difference will show if you believe that there's something else. That's very important too. Very.
What do you see? What are the guides telling you about the state of, I can't say the world, the United States right now?
Well, actually, Dawn, your first answer really was correct. It's the state of the world. And the only thing that I can say, and it's basically on the same topic that we're talking about, is if anybody can, if we all, I mean, it's not, I can't tell you it's going to change overnight. We're in a difficult place in this earth, in the world today. Everybody sees what's going on anywhere. But if we can just raise that little bit of vibrational energy, and I hear and I get messages, and people are telling me that are on the same kind of road that I'm on, that the earth is changing. We're trying very, very hard to lift the vibrational energy in the world. But unfortunately, so many, and they seem to only talk about the bad things that are happening. Yes, we have to know this, but it's repetitive. And a very good example, and I'm not here in any way to discuss politics or what's happening in current affairs, but we do see that it's continual until we get that message, unfortunately, of negativity. So why don't they spread more positive things? If we could go out into the airways and say, oh my goodness, once in a while they say, guess what happened today? And we turn on the news and we hear these wonderful things. If you think about it, how often does that really happen? Unless you're tuning into a show that's going to give you that positivity. But the actual world news is all negative. Well, I can't say all, but we can say,
Primarily.
guess what happened to this woman today? Look
Right.
what she did. We need that.
We have a question from the audience.
Hi.
Well, I was just thinking, what if you're doing everything right, but you're not, you want to know, you're doing everything right, but you're not sure what the future holds?
Well,
How do you go about that?
keep doing everything right. That's coming to me very strong. Just because you may not be sure, you will find out. If you're on that higher, especially if you're on that, as I'm talking about, that higher vibrational energy, it will become very clear. It might not be instant, it might be a month or 2 months from now. But if you follow your passion, and I talked about this the other week, I'm not sure always what I talk about because I'm in a type of a trance, but if you follow your passion and your dream and you feel, only you, it doesn't matter what other people say, you feel it's right, continue doing it, and you will reap the rewards from that.
So what happens to those around you if they don't have that same high vibration that you talk about?
Well, they can just, I'm not going to say fall by the wayside because I don't want to say that, but you'll find less and less, or less they can change by you being that positive. I'm going to say, and being positive on that level, they can change. But if they're not ready, they're not ready. And you'll find more and more, and I don't, that you don't have the same interests anymore. Because once you're on that higher level of vibrational energy, which is positivity, you're going to attract more and more people that you can actually relate to. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong if someone isn't there. It's just not part of their journey right now where yours may be.
Right.
So you continue, and you'll find that what they're talking about, or whoever, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, you don't have the same thing in common anymore because you just will not have the same thing in common. That's how it works.
So you don't think you're being selfish if
No.
you've worked on yourself, but those around you continue to kind of, you feel like you should wait for them to come to
No,
where
no,
you're at?
no,
But
because
you're
you-
saying you should just continue growing, and if they come along, great. If they don't,
Absolutely, and that's not what my thinking was in the beginning, but today it is, because you have to protect your own vibrational energy, because that vibrational energy is very important for someone that wants to hear that. So if you feed into someone, oh, what you're talking about, I don't believe it, I don't want, do not fall into that. That's where they are. But there may be someone else that you talk to in the next 5 or 10 minutes that says, oh, I can't wait to hear more. If you've pulled yourself down, you've pulled yourself down, and you won't be able to help the one that wants to hear it.
Right.
It took me a long time to understand that. And people might say, well, how do you can't do that to people. Yes, I can, because I feel that I have an important message, and I have to spread that to the people that want to hear it. If they don't want to hear it, I have to accept they don't want to hear it. And I find less and less that I have in common with them. It's not a bad thing. It's hard to do, though, especially when you've maybe had friends for years and
Right.
you've changed and they haven't. I understand that problem, but I'm trying, I am trying, and I will continue trying to not do that to myself anymore.
thank you.
Sadly, does bringing up something negative from your past constantly and bringing it up over and over again, does that make your future better, worse, or indifferent?
Well, if it's really negative, sometimes it's important to, if you've changed a little and you understand this, it can't hurt to bring up some of the negativity that you had, but you need to look at it, because you will, when you bring that up, you will look at it from a different point of view. If you're still in that same space, it's, oh, poor me, you're the victim, and this has happened to me, that's happened to me. But if you look at that, when you feel that you can, without getting too involved, as an observer, and that's very, very important. I was told that by my guide. And look at it as even a third-party incident that happened, that it didn't even, it happened to you, but you look at it from a different point of view. So sometimes that negativity can definitely be turned into something different.
Well, you're putting more energy into something that happened in the past than you are into about something that could happen in the future.
Well, you need to observe it, Freddie. You don't want to get too caught up. We can't change, okay, let me say this. We can't change what's happened to us, but we can change how we see what happens to us. That's very, very important. Everything I do believe happens to us for reasons. Nobody comes into our life without a reason, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. There's always a purpose and a reason, because I figured that we have chosen our life and where we go in this lifetime, or in any lifetime for that matter. But when you can look at it, I don't suggest someone that's in a deep depression, and I mean, I'm not criticizing the psychiatrists or people that do this, that they say, well, one thing they do say, well, punch a bag, as far as I know it. If someone's really hurt you, you can get rid of it. Yes, you can, but you've got to be ready, though. You've still got to be ready. So programs, and I'm not certainly the only one that talks about this, but people that tune into anybody that talks and you feel that they are talking positive, then maybe you can go back into previous things, because they're all lessons. They were the same lessons.
But lesson learned in the past is not lesson learned for the future.
Sometimes it is. I mean, I can't tell you that I have all the right answers, but a lesson learned from our past, be it a negative, can actually help us in the future if we're willing to understand that. Because you don't want to keep repeating and repeating. I've had bad things, and I see that some of the bad things that have happened to me are happening to other people today, the same situation and circumstances. But if I go back at that point to see the bad things that happened to me, and I commiserate with the people that are going, oh, poor me, poor me. No, it happened to me. I have to learn from that, and I can go back and I can look at it as an observer, and I can say, okay, that's done. I don't want it to happen again, but I stay in my immediate now, which is actually another now, that's another show. Stay positive, and you will see things will change. I'm a good example of that.
Can I chime in on that?
Sure.
Because I wanted to just say that when you relive it, when you focus again, you're reliving it, so you're feeling it again. You might not actually feel the pinch again, physical
Right.
pain, but you felt it here in your heart. And so each time you go back and think about something that didn't feel good for you, you won't feel good again while you're living it and thinking it again. That's why we have to pay attention and be conscious of the thoughts we give, because it's all right here, what we focus on. And I'm guilty of focusing on the negatives for me too. And
But as you begin to learn, and you're a good example too, from little, you have told me, you have to be careful, because if you're not ready to go and address that in the past, and you're still in that same negative space, and we're all in that sometimes, you're still going to look at it with that horrible feeling. So we've got to have changed enough in order to be able to revisit that. Because if we revisit it and nothing has changed within us, that's awful. We're going through the whole situation again.
Yes, and that's really what I wanted to add to that. The only reason, in my opinion, to bring up something negative from the past is if you're finally ready to put that negative piece to bed.
Perfect. And that's a good way to put it to bed, but we have to know. Only we have the person going through it is the only person that has the answers to that.
That is true.
If they're ready or not. I can tell anybody, if they came to me, go through this, but they may not be ready. Or they'll say to me, I'm ready to go through this. That's coming from them, nobody else. I can only tell you what I feel is the best thing to do. And what you just said, you have to be ready. We've all had I don't know horrific, but we've all had bad things in our past.
But the other side of that coin is sometimes when you deliver that story, if you look around how it affects other people who perhaps are not ready to deal with that, all of a sudden it gives them a platform to say, my, me, oh my. I know people in the studio that have come in here in the last 4 years. I could tell you stories in the last 18 years. And it looks like sometimes people will listen to those stories more than the positive stories that you're exposing right now. So my question again is, how much of that past is good, bad, or indifferent?
Okay, that is entirely, it's a personal thing with each individual, Freddie. I mean, it may not be giving you the right answer, but I can only talk for myself. I can revisit many things, and I've had some really bad downs in my life, but I have to say to myself today, and I can only explain what I can do, okay? And hopefully that helps other people. If I revisit, when I am, because I'm writing another story about my life, I'm revisiting those dark situations in my life, which I'm writing another book about, and the one that I'm talking about, I hardly touch it because I've had it, and my message is of hope. But if you're ready, you have to be ready to revisit that. And sometimes when you revisit it, and we all have had those times when we need to look again, if you're not ready, it's going to take you back into a dark place. If you're ready and you can understand that and you can look at it as, and Aldo, my guide, used to tell me this all the time, observing it as a third party, or you're watching a movie. That's the best way to do it. It's not me, it's part of a movie, which of course I believe a lot of that too, but if we see that, we're then able to maybe get rid of it. But sometimes we need to know what happened to get rid of it, to revisit it again.
All right, I think they want us to take a commercial break.
Sure.
I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'm not here. Okay, we're ready to, we're going to take a commercial break, and I'll see you back, as I always say, on the other side of this, but literally on the other side of the studio, okay?
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail on how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, what in the world is going on? And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book and artwork by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show.
And it's on the screen anyway. Hi, welcome back to my show. We still have quite a little while to have it. It's an open discussion. Anybody that wants to ask me a question, call in 888-994-4995. It's right in front of me. Thank you. Studio A. I'm looking at Dawn for help, and it's right there. Okay. So anyone that feels that they have a question they want to ask me, I'm right here in the studio. Anyone in the studio?
I think we had
I would.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi. So, I'm curious about what your guides have for me because I have just been absorbing everything you have said so far. When I worked for LA Fitness 5 years ago, I was in an explosion and has completely changed my life, and I feel as though I'm only half the person going forward. And just sitting here being a ping pong going back and forth is actually brutal on my neck. I have had 2 discs replaced, and I had a knee surgery that doesn't feel like I've even had surgery, and elbow surgery is next. But I feel like, am I supposed to stop and sit down because I want to keep going and keep sharing?
Okay, I think you know the answer to this. This is what I'm feeling, that yes, you need to slow down a little bit and take stock of what's actually happened. You're very intuitive. You are also an empath. We just met, but I know you know that, and I feel that. Okay. They are telling you to slow down a little bit. Take one step at a time here. What you feel is, say, take the big picture and pull out of it what you feel is most important for you, not for anybody else right now, for you, what you need to do, okay? And slowly, that's going to be such a message for other people. So you had, from what I only know a little bit about you because we have just met, but you have so many stories that may be negative, but it's actually carrying on from what we were just talking about. Take a look at them because you are in a different space and you're absolutely able to do that. But you can't do the whole thing. It's like doing we've got a puzzle in front of us. You take that and it fits. You take that. You don't have to finish the whole puzzle right away. It's there and it will finish. But you can actually help a lot of people. But you have to slow yourself down in order to do that. And I'm not saying that's what's called. I felt
No, it's physical.
actually hurt the back of my
yeah,
knee
physically
here.
can't do what I want to do.
But you
to help.
can. You will be able to. But do it slowly. That's the message I'm getting from you. You can't tell everybody your whole life, right? Not you, anybody, your whole life. You take little bits at a time and see. You turn your negatives into a positive. It's exactly what I believe I was talking about. And that will help many people, including yourself too, because you're definitely on the road to
Thank
doing
you.
this.
Sally,
Excuse me,
Marita says we are all responsible for ourselves.
Thank you, Marita. I always rely on you for a perfect, quick sentence, and it's always so accurate. Thank you. Hi, Marita.
Now, let me ask you, we've been working very, very hard on the foundation for the studio to bring awareness to our youth and the media, giving them stipend money and equipment. How is it going, and is there anything else I should be focusing on?
Well, you're actually in the right place. Well, not necessarily the studio, but you're in the right place for your focus on this. Because from what I know, and I don't know too much about it, but you're helping the youth of today, correct? So you're helping them follow their dreams, Dawn. You do get, and you will get, and we all get obstacles in our way. But as long as you stay true to what you feel that you want to do, just like anybody, I'd say this, but it's very important that you do this because you're doing and helping the youth of today. And it's very, very important because they have a different message. For the ones that want to understand and believe what we're talking about, they have so much to offer. And you're giving them a start in that. You're giving them a platform. You're giving them training. So I'm hearing very strongly from your guys, and one of our guys is exactly the same person. Keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely on the right track. And so many doors are going to be opening up. And I'm not going to tell you 5-6 years down the road, because I feel as long as you believe this, which I know you do, it's very, very soon. So many doors are going to open up. And it's definitely going to involve many of the youth today that are in the right place also at the right time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To follow up, we have an event on Thursday of this week and Thursday of next week that's being brought to you by the foundation to bring up awareness, maybe monies, maybe future deals, maybe contracts. One of them is in Miami, at our studio's down in Miami, and the other one is here at a local restaurant. But these are unknowns, which is my question. These are taking chances on things that in my years, 18, 20 years of doing this, or this place the last 4 years, we've never done. This is totally new. It goes in a different direction. Is it going to work?
Yes. I'm going to ask you a question, Freddie. Are you excited about what you're doing?
I'm petrified.
Oh, that wasn't the answer.
But petrified in my world means excitement because
Good. There you go.
Because
Then
I
that's
know
where-
good, better, and different. It's something that needs to be done.
And that's so very important.
Yeah.
Because as long as you believe that, I mean, I could give you a million answers.
No, I
but-
want your answer.
but my
I'll
answer
feel
is
better
yes.
hearing it.
And I've always, whatever you ask me, I feel that it's always going to be turned into a positive because I feel that you're on this vibrational energy. Sometimes we don't always realize that, but I know that you are, Freddie. You are going, both of you, into the right direction for the youth of today. And on the flip side of this, and to remain positive, I'm going for the older generation. So how much better could that get?
True.
Yeah, we've missed out maybe a little of the in-between here, but both are important, youth and the elderly people. So that's where I feel now at this point in my life, that's what I'm doing. So we're both kind of doing the same thing, just different. Age is a number, but we're showing a different audience, one over here and one over there. We are all on the right track. I feel it. I can even feel the energy in my hands. It's crazy. I've actually used to feel this before. I didn't know what it was, but they're showing me it. It's light. It's beautiful.
That's how we spread positivity.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Sandy, hi.
Well, I have a question for your guides,
Okay.
because I know you, and you know, I just don't think you direct me. I am still stuck on, there was a movie done. And not that I wasn't satisfied with the movie, I was very much, in a way. But the spiritual part wasn't done. And I guess that's Hollywood.
Okay.
Barbara Hershey did a fantastic job, but the spiritual part wasn't done. And it's so many years that I keep saying, it's too old.
Well, I'm going to say, if not now, when? Okay, I got that message from me. Just to explain to the viewers, I've known you many years, and you have a movie out there. Do you want me to give the name of it, or shall we just, it is still out there, okay? But you've had some, what we would call horrific experiences, Sandy. But spirituality and your belief system brought you through that. So I feel there's going to be another movie for you on the same thing that happened, but more of a positive, what you were going through. You are absolutely right in you saying the movie, yes, everybody should listen to that movie. It happened to you, and you are a really strong person to have gotten through what you got through. But let's do another one now with on your side, which you've always wanted to do, how you were able to get through that. Because
Faith.
Exactly. Faith and believing there was something more. It's not just religion. It doesn't matter what your faith is, but to believe. That's what's important. And just for our viewers, you had a situation that most people would not have been able to tolerate. You did it. You're here. I've known you through those years. You are a remarkable, strong lady. Give that message out now and start talking about the positivity of how you were able to get through that. It's important.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's the name of the movie? I'm curious.
Left to Die.
And
Okay.
can it be seen on Netflix?
Pardon?
Netflix?
No.
Any other platform?
No, probably Lifetime.
Can I give it out right now? Yes, it is, I believe, on Left to Die. Can I give your name? Yeah. Sandy Chase. Look up Sandy Chase. What this lady, and she's one of my very best friends today, has been through and has gone through that is a great message for our viewers too. For me too. What you have achieved or what you have been able to do in spite of what happened to you. So definitely right now, write more about it, please, and have a new movie with more of the spirituality in it today, okay?
But it's not offensive that one movie has been done?
No, it's you've coming from a different place now. It's many
Spiritual.
years later, yes. No,
All right,
this
it
is-
says you can watch it on YouTube, Google Play Movies, Apple TV, Fandango at Home, or Amazon Prime Video.
There you go.
There you go.
There you
Amazon
go.
Prime and Apple TV. Those are
So-
platforms.
And YouTube.
It's
Yeah,
worth
YouTube is
watching
easy.
and
I never
listening
watch it.
to.
I'm gonna watch
Okay.
It's time to watch it.
And now after that, if we're on commercial break here, please, there's one book that's up there, but the one that says, oh, the QR code has disappeared and I have the other book.
There you go.
Okay, go into my QR code and see what happens to me too on my first movie, on my first story, okay? So you have Sandy from her experience, and the book that I'm showing right now is the one that shows what I had gone through, not so much of what I've gone through, but on the positive side of what happened to me. So anybody that wants to know more, just not from my show, there we go.
And the QR
Okay.
code will lead you to Author House, where you can purchase the book, or you can go to Amazon,
yeah,
Call Me
there's
Zena.
It's a soft book or an ebook, so yes. Soft cover, I don't know, I'm not able to do it right now. I'm back to where questions are.
Well, I like what you said. I want to just add to that. If not now, when? And you're
that came
targeting the older population, and you're upwards of 60, and you're thinking, all right, so now a new copy of your first book, you've got a new book coming out, and you've got a movie coming out. Is that your message? Is to say
My message is, and I have all my art. I started painting 18 years ago.
There's a
I
piece right
didn't
behind
know
you, and
some
there's
of
a
this
piece
art
here
in the
behind me.
studio is mine. I'm not special, and I'm the first person to always say that. It's not about, oh, I can do this, who else can? No, we can all do this. This is a very important, I think, through that being humble and having the gratitude. Now, I sound like I'm a saint now. I am not. I do things that, I say, why? I question myself. But basically, I'm here just to be the mouthpiece of which Aldo, my guide, told me to do, of what happened to me. Learn by Sandy's experience. I know you have a story. We all have a story. Learn by these stories, because if we don't give these stories, people are not going to be able to relate. So if you give that story and you've come through it, as you have, Sandy, then we're giving other people, by our examples for them to follow. This is coming through very strong for me. It's examples by us spreading our word gives people hope that, you know, there's life after this awful thing I'm going through. Because if you sink down to that level, you're not going to be able to, well, you can always bring yourself up. But we only have a limited time here. We come back. My true belief is that we've had many, many incarnations. But there's such a thing as, quote, we call karma. So why not get it corrected so that we don't have to keep repeating it, because it's a lesson for us to learn. Let's try and do it now. Many people are waking up, as we call it today. Many people are waking up. Many of these messages that I'm giving, you can turn on YouTube or any of these programs, you will hear what I'm saying. I'm learning from those messages because I'm learning from people that are on this level and higher than me for what they've been able to do. I love it. This is my life today.
Sally, you have a sort of a clear understanding of where you've been in other generations and past lives, as well as Dawn does. And you know that I've been along the way with you, but it's unclear to me where I have fit in. How does one really determine where you were in the past?
Okay, I learned this because I was lucky enough that I've become an artist, and I'm drawing things that I've never seen. So just let me give my part of the story, then I'll answer it. I'm sketching things, so I have time. I do it very briefly, of things. So it was given to me very loud and clear, of things and people and places and buildings that I had never seen in this lifetime. I go into the internet, so and I see what I've drawn, basically, from never being an artist. So I got it very loud and clear. So I truly feel that I'm meant to pass this message on, because why was I suddenly able to paint? So just give me a little bit of the last part of that question.
Okay, how can me as an individual have a more clear understanding of where I have been?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So just follow what we feel, follow that, you know, I have a feeling, or a song that you may have heard that was from way back when, although we didn't always have that. You will be able, if you relate to it more than you think you should be able to, or a name, say someone gives you a name, and you say, I've heard that name, it may not be that person. It's just little clues, I'm going to call, that we get. And I know you wanted to say something.
I do, because you just said it's something to trigger you. And while I'm not a singer or a recording artist, I recorded one song in my lifetime called I'm Not Afraid by Eminem, where he says, come take my hand and I'll get you there, don't be afraid.
Right,
Walk
right.
this road together through
Right.
the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm, just letting you know that you're not alone. Holler if you feel like you've been down the same road. So you're helping us because you've been down that road. You're saying, listen, I'm not afraid. Let me help take you where we're going.
And when we do that, we open up to, people will share a very similar experience, because I truly believe that we're meeting people from that particular lifetime that come into our lives today. If you feel that instant connection with people, you're on the same, you know, we come down in groups. Right. And I believe not all the group comes down. I don't know how many in that group. But we will, if we are open-minded enough, to meet those same people. So what they may sing a song that you're not, which we've proven that in a little bit of a way from another lifetime where I was in France. And I always ask people's permission, even you, Dawn, to mention that. Sure. Like La Vie en Rose. I could relate to that because that was a time, at that particular time when that music, I think, was out in Paris. And we hear it and you relate to it. So I'm in a studio where Dawn we recognized each other right away. This happens all the time if you're aware that it can happen.
So in essence, what you're saying is we recently watched a program, a series that took place in the 1920s. And you and I both knew the words to every song that played in the background.
Right.
So is that... Oh.
Yes, it shows you that maybe we were in... I mean, I'm not always right, or we're not always right, but it's opening the door to we were in the entertainment business. I truly feel that. I know that I was in the entertainment business with the entities that are now in the studio with me. This isn't coincidence. That's my belief. We don't have to believe it, but as long as you keep an open mind, you're going to see more and more and more of what. And it's not, when they say karma, people think, oh, it's a terrible thing that happened, I have to go through that karma. No, karma can be a good thing too. And this is just coming to me, because if you've had a pleasant experience, you're going to meet that person, and that pleasant experience can even get better.
Right.
So it goes on and on and on, as long as you believe. Believe is the most important.
Believe. It's true.
Thank you.
And what else do you see the guides have to say?
Okay, they're telling me to keep my message going because it's very, very, very important today with what's happening. I'm doing my best that I can, and you guys know that. I won't stop. I'm going out on the road. I'm writing these books. Hopefully, we've got the script for the movie that it's going to be accepted. It's not quite finished. And I'm not doing it because of the fame or fortune, let's say. I'm doing it truly from my heart. Truly want to show that because there's so much suffering in the world today, and I know that you feel from that place, and everybody, I believe, it's not coincidence that's in this studio. And keep that vibrational energy high for those that want to hear it. That's really important. It's important for me to know that too. I can't save the world. Well, together, if you meet people that are helping to save this world, in mass, we can make a difference. And I think I'm ready. That is the end.
Preach.
That's a beautiful way, I feel they're telling me, to end the show today. In mass, with higher vibrational energy, we can make a difference, and we will make a difference. Thank you.
And that's what's important. You still have
Oh, I still-
8 more minutes.
Oh my gosh, great. I didn't know. I know I tried to always wanted to go overtime, but that's great. Any questions? Any questions?
Good question.
Freddie, I know you always have a question.
Tell
for
us a
me.
little bit more about why they selected you to go on the road and do these seminars, because you have a number of them, like 5 or 6,
Yes,
no?
I do. Well, I think that I put that out there. My own vibrational energy led me to the fact that I want to spread this, and I never would have said this, but I want to talk to elderly people. These are senior communities that I'm going into. And I had put that out. I said, you know what? I'm a senior, and I need to let them know that life doesn't end at a certain age. And I walk into the Brooklyn Cafe, and who is here but someone that sets up all these, it happens all the time, all these country clubs and these places where I can go to. She, I guess, heard me. I don't know how she figured it out, because I must have been talking about it. I don't always remember what I'm talking about. And she said, how would you like me to make you bookings in all these places where people are living? They're at a certain age. And I said, oh, I put that out. Why am I surprised? So she's already arranged, I think, about 6 or 7 for me today. If we don't put it out there, we're not going to get it back. I put it
Amen.
out there. That's what I wanted to
You
do.
deserve
So on
it.
top of everything else that I'm doing, I'm going to go out, which I call on the road, because it is on the road, to these different places.
And your overall message, I mean, you're right now, I don't want to talk politics, but this is an important quarter between now and November, and you're going to be on the road. Are you going to use that platform to, not to change politics, but to tell them, at least get out and have your voice heard?
I will say that, because it is important. I won't get involved in any way, and Steve knows this, in politics or even in the news, but it's real, so we have to say something. Yes, I will absolutely tell people. I won't tell them who to vote for, but I will say get out, because your word and your vote does make a difference. It's our country, and this is where we are. So we want to, whoever we feel can do the best job, we need to make that heard, because if everybody sat at home and didn't, you get me now, I will get involved, but I don't want to get involved, if that makes sense. So,
But it's interesting, because you're going to be talking to a senior population that may not aptly go out to vote because it's a little more difficult. Just as, like you said, we've got the youth population. It's just important that these 18 plus, they go out and they make their voice heard one way or another.
Absolutely, and I love that, actually, and you're making me see that in a different way. I can't tell people who to vote for, and never ever would.
Right.
However, go vote, because then you feel in your heart that you've done something to elect, maybe not elect, but you've done something to the person that you wanted to be there. If we don't do that, it's not like you feel helpless. We are, basically, because we can't, but the only way we can do something is to go and vote. Yes.
If we don't try and we don't let our voice be heard, than the rights that we've all earned.
Right. But on the flip side of that, Dawn, you know, that's why I really, and Steve can certainly attest to this, I don't like talking politics, because we all have different points of view, accepted, and not everybody's going to agree with what I'm saying. But just because you vote for a certain person or a party, you may not follow everything but someone on the other flip side of that can feel the same way as you, but they're either Democrat or Republican. No, we're human beings voting for what we feel. So we're very segregated that way. And I don't really know if I want to do this, but come together. Let's all talk about it, because peace is what we need. And if we don't come together with this, and there's an unbalance. You know, there's this side and that side. Why can't both sides talk together and find a neutral ground where we can find some peace? We can find countries. Yes, each country is different, I agree that. But why is all this happening, though? That's the sad part about it. Let's try and, am I going to make a difference? No.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
am?
you are
Okay,
making a
thank you
difference
for
right
saying
now
that.
and every day going
Thank you.
forward.
And
Yes, you are.
And in my opinion, Sally, the segment of the population you're going to be addressing, the senior population, have a very distinct viewpoint on life. And even though they're there to listen to you and to psychic, medium, and whatever else you're going to be talking about, somebody's ultimately going to bring up the current political situation. And how will you be prepared to deal with that?
No, I will be, because I get help. Sally, no, but Zena, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Good
I
answer.
have no doubt in my mind.
Good answer.
But Sally, no. Sally will get more involved with it. But Sally, that's why Sally keeps out of it a little bit. Excuse me. And they're shaking my voice away a little bit right now, too.
Perfect time to wrap it up then.
Okay,
communication.
So now, okay. I hopefully see you all this time next week, or tell your friends to tune into this program. We are on...
Find us on Facebook and YouTube at Call Me Zena, and you can scan the QR code for more information and get the book at Author House, AUTHOR house.com. It is in paperback.
And Amazon is both,
and
actually.
Amazon as well as paperback, as well as Kindle ebook.
Thank you, and I'll see you all this time next week. Thank you very much to the audience here. Thank you, Dawn and Freddie, for your beautiful studio. I don't say that often, but my gosh, I'm at home here.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.